Well, good evening, everybody. Good evening. It was an interesting one, wasn't it? Wow, that was genuinely an interesting one. WFC Dawny with the first comment on Twitter on the 5 words, our best performance in weeks. It felt it. It felt something that was really quite enthusing. I've seen people say, the best performance without Pollock as a unit in a long time, and I think I don't disagree. As a 0-0, how do you feel about that one? Was it points that got away? Or was it a damn good point on the road? I must confess, I'm very much in the latter camp. I think that's a damn good point on the road. And the fact that Hull have been playing 5 straight wins, again, if you include the FA Cup win, which was on penalties, and they're in what, 3rd or 4th place? I think we've got to consider that, I would say, a far more encouraging start, and well done, first of all, to a whole host of people, but I'm sure we'll get into that. I don't want to cover everything off today. I want to get your thoughts, because let's face it, I was yapping on last night, and yes, when I was yapping on last night, I was wearing the same jumper. What have you got to say about that? Well, I don't know. Let's find out what Rich WFC2 has to say about that, because don't get me wrong, there are things not right, not enough shots on target. Problems, in going into the final third wasn't quite there, but there was a lot to enthuse over. Absolutely, there was. Rich, are you there with us?
I am, Pete. Good evening.
Hello, sir. I thought that was a good quality championship 0-0. What were your thoughts on everything?
Well, I didn't know I was going to come on tonight. I wasn't even seeing how much I was going to see of the game. It's Mrs. WFC2's birthday today, and bless her heart, she said, "You have the main telly and watch the game. I don't mind. We'll go out the weekend." Super lady that she is, and I sat there tonight with minimal expectations, because I think most Watford fans would be forgiven for not feeling that.
Yep.
And I sat there and watched a game of lads committed. I've seen more tackles from Watford players tonight than I think I've seen all season, and I'm not joking.
No.
I'm not going to get too silly and excited, but I saw a shape, I saw a plan, I saw a team that had been coached. I saw a few players that had a point to prove, obviously.
Yep.
And I saw, literally from kickoff, bear in mind, not just we got into the game, we pretty much from start to finish, with the odd little spell as you always have, where we bossed that game. And we just sadly don't have that real cutting edge, which I think if we can get more minutes of Bar on the pitch, who will just go for the jugular when he feels a bit more confident and happy in his game.
Hopefully.
And Mama, where I don't know, he keeps looking down too much. Get his head up a little bit more and just shoot. I don't care if they go in row Z. And we've got something to build on. But full credit to Charlie Daniels tonight, with ably assisted with Goslin and Maps.
Yep.
And I've just put it out on a little Twitter thing, and I'm generally not being reactionary.
Uh-huh.
I saw enough tonight to just say, give them it. Just let them sort it out for the rest of the season, for the next couple of months. Let the club think about the long-term, managerial situation. But I saw players like Mama cuddling Daniels really properly. There was no hidden agendas there. It was someone that had enjoyed his game of football. And there was players there tonight. Just wow. I mean, it would be churlish to probably pick out too many, but I'm going to pick a few out.
Go for it.
I thought Abankwah was absolutely outstanding at the bank.
McBurney's
at the back, yeah. And because I was going to say McBurney afterwards, he didn't give McBurney a kick. No. And he's a threat, whatever anybody says. And obviously, the young lad, Stephen Mafuni, is it? Me and bloody explanations alike, but wow.
Well, I thought I was going to bring you on, and we were both going to observe a minute's silence for the loss of Musa Sissoko, who we've been doing our best to mispronounce for many years now. So, Mafuni, welcome. Wow, expect the inevitable.
But these City lads, you've got to give them credit. They are just so well coached. He made a silly, rash challenge, arguably twice, and could easily got himself sent off. And funny enough, a bit like a Banquet did on his first kick when he played for Watford. If you remember, I think it was at Derby, was it? He went through Mendes Lang, if my memory serves me right, and you thought, oh, hello.
He went through Mendes Lang and half of the Derby bench at the time.
So he's, but I mean, his passing and having that left foot makes such a difference. Being able to play the ball, an arc to people like Bowler and whoever's down there at that particular moment, Chak or whatever.
Yeah.
But to be honest, head and shoulders for me, man of the match. And apparently he's too small to play football. It's Mr. Mendy in the middle, isn't it? I mean, what a magnificent example of football. But the stupid thing is, Peter, we're sitting here and almost saying, well, why are we surprised? Because the guy has been a Senegalese international. He's played in Leicester's better team when he replaced Kante.
Yeah.
As I said to you before, I speak to a lot of Midlands people. Everybody at Leicester thought he was an excellent player. And we get told by Javi Gracia that he's too small to play in a championship midfield. He's run the whole bloody midfield tonight. I mean,
what was so lovely, and bit for me with him was, and we've everybody said it. It's nothing clever, but everybody said, why do we never win the second ball? How many times did we win the second ball today?
Unbelievable,
he was just momentous. He really was.
Yeah, it was just an outstanding performance, and it set the tone. We won some tackles, as you say. We got the second ball back. The ball got to Loser. I mean, the fact Loser is literally
he's on his,
blowing out of his backside at the end.
Absolutely.
How he missed that chance. We must have all buried our heads into whatever chair or carpet we were. It was just, you thought, oh God, that's got to go in, and that was the game won. And it's just so unlucky. But I was thinking, even at the end there, I was priming myself for a Hull City last minute winner, as often happens to us. And I was still said to myself, I don't care what happens. If we lose this game, I'm going on Spaces to say exactly pretty much what I have said at the 0-0. It was an outstanding performance. If we'd have lost that game, I'd have been saying that is what football for me is all about. As I say, it's not all about winning. Lovely that is. But when I see my team play like that, you feel proud, you pump your chest out, and you think, yeah, we can compete. Whole City have had their arses handed to them tonight, and I just wish we could have got the goal to have come out with all the icicle jokes that we possibly could have done for the next 10 weeks, because, it was a cold in the veins, it was ice in the veins performance from the boys tonight, and I make no apologies for any cliches like that. I thoroughly enjoyed it. That is what I want to see from my team. Commitment. We were in the game from minute one to the end. You can pull out, everybody can sit there and pull holes. There's a few players that we know aren't quite there for us. And a few that came, or one or two that came on at the back there, and you think, we all know who we're talking about. And if we can just get Chak fit, I mean, there's little bits of him, you think, there he is. And then you think, oh no, there he's gone again. And as I say, if you can get Mama to get his head up a bit more. And if we just could get a centre forward, and I don't mean, it's too late, I know now, but we don't necessarily need a giant up there. We need someone that can just run behind the channels, because when Bar gets going and Mama gets going and they get them crosses in, you need a sniffer. You need a fox in the box, someone just to put the ball in the net. And I will spend the rest of this season just shaking my head in disbelief that we've not addressed that part of it. No disrespect to Duambai tonight, who worked his nuts off and stupidly got himself booked. And Kieran Gar, I'm sorry, he'll get the odd goal here and there, but he's not the answer. We know that. It might have been a game for Semedo to have come on at the end there. I don't know, but he has a nasty habit of scoring the odd goal, Semedo. But no, let's just talk about and eulogise over a really thoroughly enjoyable performance.
It's nice to have an evening because you're right. The answer is always the player who didn't play, because you can never prove it. What was tonight, and there's been a number of comments here also about, I'm going to call him Petris, and I know his name's Petri, but I'm just going to do it nonetheless. Petris came in, and about 5 minutes before he came in, I know that at one point, Ngakia, who's had a hell of a season, had got forward and he was not getting back. He was absolutely knackered. And they brought on Petris, gave us a whole different momentum down that right. I thought he was excellent as well. You know, little cameos, but show that this still can be a squad game. You know, where you do that and you make the differences. Well done. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, this is where it is so baffling, isn't it? When you think of someone like Gracia, who you just think, and we're not being wise after the event because we've been saying it for weeks, and we're not necessarily saying. I mean, Petrus probably, in the nicest possible way, can't defend for toffee. And there was a couple of times there when he was asked to defend and went, oh, ouch. But when he was got the ball in front of him, running forward, wow, as a wing back, my goodness me, you know, you put him with, you know, Bar or someone like that in front of him, and the pace and the ball he puts to Loser. I mean, if Loser puts the ball in the net, you know, Petrus is getting massive accolades. And I agree with you. Great cameo, fair play. He had a point to prove.
In fairness to him, on the defensive side, because like a lot of people, we were looking at this on 85 minutes or what have you, probably and going, oh come on, they can't have something out of this. And there was a ball put into the far post, and there was McBurney, because he's always there. And it was I think it was Petrus's sort of, you know, kind of whatever you would call it, ponytail, top knot, whatever you want to call it. the basically just made the difference, and he got there.
Yeah, maybe.
He did do a little bit there. I'll give him that.
I'm perhaps being a little bit unfair, but I agree with you from a attacking point of view. I mean, there was great cameos. I mean, you know, Kayembe gets a lot of stick, and we know, and sometimes he does take too long to get the ball under his feet. But at the end of the day, a couple of times though, I looked at him next to Mama and that, I thought, Kayembe's got some experience. He's you know, he's an international footballer. He's been there, seen it, done it. And just every now and again, there is something there, and he's stuck in. And when he goes forward on that left foot, or even right foot, like tonight he had a go, you feel that he's got a shot on him. You know, I know he's not the perfect answer, and you know, we don't know who these lads that we brought in, if they're going to make a difference or whatever. But certainly the youngster has certainly made a difference tonight. You know, things have a habit of levelling off, but we'll see. Another big game at Southampton. But, you know, we go into Southampton now Saturday with a little bit more spring in our step and a little bit of the cobwebs blown away. And, you know, the transfer window and distractions are closed. Let Charlie Daniels, Gosling, you know, with helping for Maps, literally do some training, because I think Charlie Daniels is a pretty shrewd coach. He's got, you know, he's got a good pedigree. He's worked at Bournemouth for a long while, as did Gosling, working with Eddie Howe and Tyndall and all that. And whatever you say about them, they've certainly got something about them. And you know, he's learnt his trade, and who knows? You know, who knows? You know, he's English, so it's probably not going to help him with Pozzo. He'll be looking for some deep delved Spaniard or Italian somewhere in Europe to come in and manage, who we've never heard of. But for me, you know, let's have a little bit of the Clev's little bounce that we had early doors back in the day, not necessarily the end part of it. And maybe that with Matt, Charlie Daniels and that, they certainly know the club inside out. They know what they're dealing with, and the players responded to them today. And it's not all about the players sticking two fingers up to Javi if they were unhappy with that performance tonight. If they did that, they were set up in a way by from Daniels that, you know, we looked like a football team. We controlled the midfield. We were strong at the back. Goalie has his moments, but he made a great save on half time there. And, you know, the forwards worked hard. The only thing we were missing was the goal, but it's a clean sheet. And a lot of people, seeing how many players that Hull brought in and things like that, certainly were thinking this could be a hard and long night, 2 or 3, you know, maybe 3 or 4 goals tonight. We could be in trouble. But it never, from literally kick off to the end, never looked like it. And I thoroughly enjoyed it. And
very good.
Fair play to them, and great night. I'll let someone else have a chat.
Lovely stuff, Rich. Wonderful stuff. And as everybody knows, Sissoko is dead. Long live Dumbai, whoever he is. We don't know. Rich, brilliant as always. Thank you very much. Right, let's get to Reza. See what Reza thought of that. That was fun for a 0-0. It felt like, you know, kind of blood and guts and some good performances. Did you see that?
Yeah. Hello, Pete. Whenever you keep talking about Dubai, I keep thinking Drambuie. That's just some spirit my nan used to drink.
Yeah, that says so much more about you than me and Rich, and well done for doing so. Well done. Excellent.
But yeah, yes, it was. I'm actually a little bit wowed. I kind of thought that might happen. I don't want to talk ill of Garcia. He's gone now. You know, he's another line on the spreadsheet, as it were. But For me,
that's next year's expenses. Don't worry about that. That's next year's accounts. Go on, carry on.
Next year's accounts. But no, it was just the difference there. I mean, was coaching. The team, because I thought, like, I know you get a lot of different opinions on X or Twitter about the squad and is it good enough? You know, Duxbury thinks this squad's good. I never thought the squad was bad. The squad was always there, but it was just whether there was just some reluctance to use it. But to use a bit of a cliche, the handbrake was taken off.
I agree.
And the handbrake was taken off. Your loser was allowed to be a lot more fluid and allowed a lot more freedom, not playing as deep as he has been in previous roles. There was just if that's what Daniels et al. Can do after 48 hours. I know there's you always get a new manager bounce, and look, obviously Garcia was the easiest to play against. It was very obvious how he was going to play. Obviously, Hull City had no idea. We got 3 coaches. They had no idea what to expect. So, you know, you've got to take that they couldn't necessarily set up and watch the DVD and see how badly we played against Portsmouth and Blackburn and Swansea.
Can you imagine what certificate that would be? Blimey, crikey. Yeah.
Definitely need some parental guidance.
Yeah, definitely. Need some guidance somewhere.
But look, for me, I'm kind of with Rich. And I know we said this on a brief chat on Sunday morning, but the playoffs are in the balance now. We do have to pick up form to get in and stay there. Because I know 6 is close, but kind of 3rd, 4th, and 5th have kind of shifted away a bit now. So look, it's not out of the woods. But do you know what? Based on what I've seen, if I was advising Pozzo and Duxbury, I would say, look, I'd give the 3 amigos, I'd give them the gig till the end of the year.
3 amigos. Why have we not come up with that before? Reza, well done, sir.
You can have that one.
No, you trademarked that. That's excellent. We're going to nick it. Don't worry. We're no respecters of copyright here.
But no, give the 3 amigos the gig till the end of the season. There's no look. You could bring in Will Still. But then it's another change. It's another 2 or 3 matches.
Yep.
They're ticking down every game. That's another game gone, another game gone, another game gone. This could work. You know, the squad's being used. Petri, again, I know, is it Petri, Petris? I could figure Petri dishing it out.
It's his name. It's our interpretation. You call him what the heck you want. Carry on.
But yeah, so like he was outstanding. Again, more attacking in a winger role than as a fullback. But I mean, this guy couldn't even, and Papi Mendy couldn't even get on the coach. Couldn't even get on the bus. I'm not saying he's you know he's the next Pele, but he's solid. You know, great awareness, bit of experience. You know, he's Senegalese international, played at a high level. So I'm very you can tell, Pete. I can't give my words out. I'm very positive.
No, positive. That's lovely.
I don't want to speak ill of Javi, but we have wasted. I'm sorry for everyone who loves him. We absolutely wasted 3 months, and I'm going to use a Rupert phrase. 3 months in the worst 2nd division in the decade by playing defensive football that didn't match our squad. Now, I'm not saying that the 3 amigos are going to take us up into the playoffs and take us to Wembley and make us victorious, but just one game, like I'm with Rich, one game is enough to make me see, look, give them a go. Don't rush into it. See how we get on and then make the right decision. Because as we also said on Sunday, we are world class at sacking them. We're very poor at recruiting them. So take some time, look at, and just make the right choice. But that's kind of summed it up for me.
That'll
but
do.
Yeah, I'm really happy with it.
That will do. Can I just give everybody though a cautionary word, because over the last week I think I've heard the phrase you must never get attached to a manager, loan player, football, anybody at Watford, and suddenly there's Reza giving his heart away on the block after 90 minutes there. Wonderful stuff.
But we've had to put up, Pete, we've had to put up with the game. I'm not going to keep going on about them, but Swansea, Blackburn, Millwall, what was the other poor one? Portsmouth.
I think your
Bristol
point.
City. It's been a really tough time to be a Watford fan. I'm not taking away from the 4 in a row.
Bristol City. Bristol City, I'm absolutely excluding all memory of the FA Cup this year, and I'm not going to let you break into my chrysalis of kind of denial about it. However, I think the point you made earlier on in this in your piece there was about we become predictable, and after Millwall played us, we knew what Portsmouth were going to do. They would kind of come and be a Poundland Millwall. They hadn't got quite the ability. They hadn't got the coaching. They hadn't done any of that. Swansea came. We like to press high, and suddenly you knew everybody was going to press us high, and we didn't get around it. Tonight, from 5 o'clock, I know we've been on your screen an awful lot, everybody live, but we were recording the opposition view with our Southampton counterpart, and when we did his one, he went, "So you're not really going to know quite how you're going to play, are you?" And we went, "Nope, we haven't got a clue." Previously, we've been able to tell him exactly how we'll line up, and almost player for player. And whilst that's been in a way of gaining in the early days that some consistency of form and getting in, a little bit like Coventry did at the start of the season, and they went obviously on their 10-game winning or unbeaten run and got way ahead. The problem is players tire. Today we saw a use of the squad which gave us a few more legs a little bit quicker than we've previously seen. My only frustration on it, and he had a great left-footed shot, so it was all good. I still think somehow we've got to do something to get the best out of Chak Fatadza, because for me he was very frustrating, and my wife called him back Fatadza because he kept getting the ball and moving back as well, which was excellent lining.
No, I agree. I agree with you.
Yeah. There's things to come out of it, but this 4-1-4-1 had more solidity, and also it wasn't just Loser being the engine room. It was Mendy when we hadn't got the ball was the engine room, and then when we had got it, give it to Loser, let him go. But he was just tired at the end. He really was. But there we go.
Just before we go,
fire away.
2 more very quick points. So another shout out for Stephen Mafundi, absolute class. I took a bit of stick actually. I was called a Wally by someone because I suggested that I'd start him. Yeah, I know. Just before lineups, and I got a torrent of abuse saying, "Why would I put a 17-year-old up against Ollie McBurnley?" Well, I think if Mafundi looks in the bottom of his pocket, Pete, he might actually find Ollie McBurnley in there. You know what? Harks back to Graham Taylor, doesn't it? If you're good enough, you're old enough. All this nonsense about being 17. He's trained under Pep Guardiola. These aren't, they didn't send him here to sit on our bench. He could do that there.
Very good point.
No, I'm great at, and I'm glad I was called a Wally, and I feel vindicated.
I was going to say, when you were called a Wally, were you visiting 1985 and Grange Hill at the time? Yeah. Because I don't think that's been used since Phil Redmond wrote it.
Yeah. No, I'll take that. And the other thing, I think someone else mentioned this, but I just, as a slight negative, not a negative, but I am getting a little bit concerned about Selvik in a way that I kind of did about Bachmann towards the end. Selvik has been... Flappy. You think Selvish, you think, see it, save it, Selvik. It's done. It's not a problem. There's no, and it's just the last few games. I've just getting that heart in my mouth moment when he comes out, and I haven't had that really. And so I hope it's just a slight confidence issue. Hopefully now he's actually got a potentially decent, back line in front of him that he can work with. Especially with Matty Pollock. I mean, look, imagine that Matty Pollock and Mafundi in the centre-back pairing. That's going to be something I think, for the rest of the season. So
I love it. It's Mafuni, by the way.
Mafuni.
But hey, this is Do Not Scratch. What we don't offer you in pronunciation, we more than make up for in Grange Hill quotes and insults. You Wally, honestly, what could we do? Reza, sir, lovely stuff. Thank you, mate. I will get on to and have a good night. It wasn't the perfect night. We haven't scored a goal. We haven't really, and we didn't score, against Swansea. There's still bits there to do, but I think the difference in the whole vibe, if I may try and speak more youthfully than I clearly am, the whole vibe was a lot more positive. There were a lot more building blocks laid down today in a very short period of time. A lot of energy shown and a lot of determination from a team there trying to get something from a tough away game and from the form team in the league, which is good. Boyd, sir, Did you see it like that, or were there other things that you were thinking about?
No, I saw it very similar. I felt two players for me stood out.
Cool.
Was a Banquet and Pup Mendy.
Yep.
I thought Pup Mendy was N'Golo Kante, and a Banquet was something I haven't seen in a Watford centre half for a long time. The forward runs and the passing was something I don't think we've got another centre half at the club can do. I mean, I just thought tonight he was astonishing, but they all were fantastic. I think substitutions excellent.
Good.
I mean, Mama was out on his feet.
He was knackered.
Never
He was
mind
absolutely
loser,
knackered, yeah.
but Mama was gone for the last 20 minutes. Do you reckon?
Oh well. Oh yeah, and some. Yeah, I agree.
I mean, he really couldn't move. You could see. I agree with the comments about Flappy Selvig, but hopefully, goalkeeping coach is going to have to sit him down. I thought they were all really, really good. So now comes not negative, but just a statement.
Yeah, go on.
Who should we be disgusted with? Should we be disgusted with Javi for it? Because come on, this is 48 bloody hours.
Yep.
And we've turned from dog shit into looking very tasty.
Looking organised as well.
Yeah, and we broke and we made chances. And I know we didn't take them, but all right. You know, I can stand for a mistake. I can stand for somebody missing a chance.
Mm-hmm.
But when we play like we played tonight, I can stand for all that because there's something there to build on. So, are we disgusted at Javi for clearly bombing Petrus out for no reason, Pat Mendy out for no reason, Bar clearly tonight Bar was running and smacking people like he was before. Whereas the last two games we've seen Bar come on, he's run at 1 mile an hour. Do you know what I mean? So
I don't disagree with you. There is obviously always the honeymoon, not the marriage element to it, but there's also the fact about and for right or for wrong, Yavi had his way of playing. We all know it, we all saw it, and it can bring you something, but he needs certain players in that role. And having somebody who is he's diminutive is little Pat Mendy. Put him in the 3 in midfield as the 4-1-4-1 kind of opted today. Crikey, he's like a dustpan and brush. He's in, out we go with the ball.
Absolutely.
And we kept it.
I accept what you're saying.
You've got to change the system to match the players you've got.
That's my point.
Yeah.
That's my point. Then if your system isn't working, be adaptable enough to change it. So should we be annoyed with him that we might have thrown the playoff place away? Should we be annoyed with the players who in 48 hours seem to have all been on buckets of cocaine because you've never seen players run around so long?
What's the FA drug testing team come into play now?
Yeah, they don't want to be drug tested this week. There's none of that fuel nonsense.
Fantastic.
They've been doing fuel. They've been doing no, but I mean,
we find out what Charlie Daniels actually means finally. Yeah, of course.
Quite. But I mean, so should we be disgusted at them because in 48 hours they've had a bleeding attitude change, or are we disgusted at the owner for again recruiting appallingly? I've been in sales for bloody hell 50 years.
Right.
And I'm a consultant. It's relevant what I am. But what I teach people and what I say to people is, don't blame your sales manager for failure. You recruited him. And if you recruit one sales manager and he fails, that's okay. You recruit another one and he fails. Well, hang on. You recruit another one and he fails. Bloody well look at yourself. Because maybe it's the culture that's wrong and not the manager you picked. So do you get my point, Pete?
I think no, I get it entirely. I think in many ways these aren't mutually exclusive. I think the The players are to blame. The
The
players are to blame, not entirely, but the players have been to blame because they've had two managers and many managers before them, but they have been brought up in, and they have not been responsive, and that's why I say honeymoon great. What happens in 5 or 6 weeks when suddenly, actually Charlie's telling me I've got to do this now, we'll find. However, they've been brought up in the culture that is absolutely, and we've talked about it a lot, and you and I have talked about it a lot, identify the culture starts at the top. Absolutely it does, and it permeates down. But you can also look at Javi, because we've said here enough, he's quite obstinate about and stubborn about how he wants to play. I'd said before about being at something where Maps said, look, no, brilliant guy, lovely guy, probably doesn't change his team as much as sometimes we would think. And that was well, crikey, a couple of months ago at least. And that was said, and he really had to dig for something bad to say about him, to be frank. That would be the thing. But that seems to have found him out, because as a result of that, we've played the same system, we've played the same players, they have been knackered, and we've seen it again tonight. They're still tired, but if you can drop in the rest of those players and use them, some of them will be cameo roles. Some of them will be the Petrus kind of 15 minutes, but come on and make a difference. And didn't he? Brilliant stuff. Love it.
The truth is, Pete, it's probably a 15-man team now, football.
Oh, yeah, at least I agree. Throughout the season, it's a 25. If those 25 in your squad, they count. They do count for everything. So
but I'm saying on average in every game, it's probably 14 to 15 players.
Yeah, I agree wholeheartedly.
So your role has to be to know when to use them, how to use them. But I mean, how good was Petrus when he came on? I mean, his speed but I tell you what I noticed from the off, there was none of passing back and none of standing on the fucking ball for a half an hour before passing it. Everything was pacey, looking forwards. They were all looking forwards. Now, that's obviously what they've been told by the manager. Agreed?
I think that the phrase that has been used, and it's been used by those people who haven't liked Javi, and I get that. And I'm not going to pretend that I don't like Javi, because I do. I think he's done. I think he's done good stuff. But I said last night, I wrote an article on why he's gone, and part of it was the intransigence of his system previously and what the problems it caused us. And again, people knew what we were going to do, because everybody knew what they were going to do. I think what we have to look at it from here, as I'm choosing, not what we have to do. I'm looking at this from here as suddenly this is part of the soap opera where I'm leaning in, where suddenly one of the supporting actors is coming up and having a plot line of their own. Charlie Daniels may have a short period in charge of this team, and we might have somebody who's already coming in, or the owners might look at it and go, well, yeah, okay, we can take our time and actually try and get this next one right, whilst having a good look at this, this lot who we've got. Because one of the problems that undoubtedly Petzolano will have had, yes, the language, but certainly the fact that there was no connection to him at the club. The three guys we've got have all served time at the club. Yeah, okay, Charlie Daniels only as a coach, but he's been there for a little while. Maps, bona fide legend. I don't think there's any argument with that. And the wonderful thing with Goz is, yes, he played for us for a while and did good service. Everybody should remember that goal at Norwich in that promotion season. But he's also long-standing with Charlie Daniels, as well. So there don't seem to be too many cracks in this particular wall that we're looking at.
No, and they worked under Eddie Howe for a long time.
So we can look forward to Marma falling over even more regularly, because they do like. Yeah, well, no, we've said about the dark arts. We've said about we've got to be grown up, and we can't go up against teams who will bully us. Now tonight, I think you could have seen somebody like Ollie McBurney try and bully someone, and he was up against a 17-year-old tonight who went no. He was up against a banquet tonight who went no. I'm going to try and do. All the more for it. I think also, in fairness, bar one particular moment, Kebben came on, and I thought he didn't do so badly. I'm not saying he was as good as Mifune, not at all.
Yeah.
But he came on, and suddenly there's a little bit of pressure on your position because we've suddenly got options. In fairness to yesterday's transfer window, so maybe things looking up. Who knows? We've still got to crack this scoring a goal thing in a game, and we'll see how we go with that.
Yeah,
and of course,
I think, do you know what? It's like everything. You watched Kevin, and it would be very easy to go, oh, for God's sake. But don't compare him to Mifune, because Mifune
different player entirely.
Well, he looked better than Mac at some points. Do you know what I mean? So, and I'm not saying he is. It's very early days.
Yep.
But I think it's unfair to say, oh, Kevin wasn't very good, because look what you've got to compare him to. But, I mean, for me, it's a shame. It really is a shame, because I feel like you're sort of 10 games wasted almost. No, not as many, because we had to run, but certainly 5 games wasted, because clearly Javi, when his family came here, they probably said to him, come on, we miss you. You don't need to work. And I don't blame them, and I don't blame him, but he should have gone straight away.
Well, they say never go back, but
Yeah,
that's just
right.
my family, and to me about the family home. But that's not the point. It's simply the question that they've had the opportunity. He's come back for reasons that you can see. He's been frustrated with not only the games. He's been frustrated with he wasn't getting something from the team. The team weren't giving him something. The team were capable of giving him something, clearly, because they've done that tonight, but it's not worked. He's been frustrated with the internal hurdles, shall we say, and the phrase which said in one of the things, which was, it was felt that back in 2019 Javi would have dealt with this. Well, frankly, stop putting shitty hurdles in front of his way and making him a bit easier. I hope we're not expecting Charlie Daniels to have to hurdle these other hurdles. Make it easy for him. Try and support him and Goz and Maps and the team, and try rowing the boat in the same direction, everybody. Wouldn't that be a thing?
Well, yes, but to end on a slightly sour note.
Oh, it's Boyd's sour note moment, everybody.
I'm afraid so.
Go on.
I think we have to be realistic.
Yep.
Come on, they're never going to change. Look, what do you think they're going to do? Go down and find God tomorrow morning? They ain't changing. These are people that are crystal clear in what they want. We will sign players at 17, 18 that we can sell on. I understand that anyway, because where else are we going to get any money? I've got no issue with that. But we'll sign who we want or who Moggy wants. And that's the end of it.
There you go.
And that's what we do at Watford.
Justin,
take it or leave it.
Justin, if you are leaving, if you're listening, Justin, just make sure, make a note for the morning's social media post. Gino meets God. Caption this. That'll be great. What would he say? I imagine Gino would be saying to God, well, all right, we'll give you to the end of the season, but basically we need a sell-on clause. Yeah, probably.
No, it won't change. And we as fans have to be big boys and understand it. Yeah,
there you
not
go.
Going to change. And all these people saying Pozzo out, well, you give him 150 million then. Because he ain't going otherwise. They haven't gone from Udinese, Pete.
No.
They're about to do a deal and it fell through because that's what you're dealing with.
Well, it's you can have my car, but you have to spend 10 grand over the odds. Guess what? Other cars are available at good figures. There you go. Boyd's grumpy moment at the end. I like your idea, Justin. Make a note down. Future episodes, we want to always have Boyd's grumpy moment, and we'll come up with a jingle for it, because that's the kind of infantile nonsense that we like. Oh dear. Let's get to Johnny Hornet, who's journeying. Let me think. West from Hull, I imagine, back to Leeds.
Yeah. Hi, Peter. How you doing?
I'm all right. How was that in the flesh? Because a number of people who we were watching it were looking at Doumbia and feeling a bit frustrated. And then I saw somebody who was in the team say, oh, Doumbia should have stayed on. He was working really hard and occupying all the back line. How did you see Doumbia's performance, or what else would you like to add?
Yeah, I'm sorry, we're just in the car with Miles at the moment, and I think both of us thought Dumbia played pretty well. I thought he was a bit of a beast in that game, and I think he was a bit unlucky to be taken off, but because he booted that ball away, obviously I think there was just a bit of a worry about that. But I thought he played really well, to be honest. I kind of came over tonight feeling quite negative, and obviously early today I was always thinking of sacking it off. I was just feeling a bit depressed after I got to spoke to you on Saturday afternoon.
I'm sorry, I have that effect on people.
But no, I came away. Everyone came away from that feeling really positive. It's just a shame we didn't get justice for the pitch incident by winning that game. And I thought you would have put your money on loser scoring after he did that nice ball in from, I think it was Patrice. But overall, I thought it was really positive. I thought I think everyone played pretty well. I thought the guy who's on loan from Man City did really well. It was probably a bit unfortunate with the yellow card.
Yeah.
I thought they were a good team. I thought that guy, the Japanese guy, the number 13 who played for them, was pretty good, and it was a good match, to be fair. But going against a team who I thought might kind of stick a few passes today, I think we were the better team, and kudos to Daniels and the coaching staff, turning things around like that. So hopefully, we can be positive and move the ball forward like that for the games we've got kind of coming up. But I really enjoyed it, and I've come away feeling a lot better today. But yeah, I guess my frustration is I kind of keep looking back at the manager thing with going back. Obviously the last time we played Holloway, we had Cleverley, and we sacked him, and we brought in Petzolano, who was meant to be the main man. We sacked him after so many games.
Yeah.
And we brought in Gracia, and we know the system he played. Yeah. I'm not really sure what's gone on there. I find it all a bit strange. Like, why did we bring him back if we knew that he was that inflexible and he wasn't going to use the players that we brought in? And I find that all a bit odd. So, and I kind of think, and I guess people have probably already said this, is like, what have we got to lose with Daniels? If it all goes wrong, he can go back to his old job.
Yeah.
If it all goes right, but we just need someone to kind of get behind. And on today's showing, I thought that was really good.
I thought it was a great draw on the road, difficult opponent. What did you think of what's his name? Is it Charlie Hughes? Hughes, their number 4, because he looks a good player. He's one of the players we were talking to Barry. Everybody remember Barry from Wigan. And Hull went and got him, and I think Crystal Palace are coming in for him to try to replace Gahey, or were, and he looked really good. How did Dumbia do up against him? Because we're talking about how people did against McBurney one end. How did he do against the physicality of the Hull defenders in the ground, when you can really get a sense of the physicality?
I think he did well. I think he kind of held the ball up. He wasn't getting out muscled. He was winning headers from what I could see. I thought it was like an improved performance. Like him, he looked like he kind of had the bit between his teeth. So I thought he did well. So I probably didn't really notice the whole player as much. I mean, one of the things I did notice is I think they were quite towards the end of the second half. They were quite worried about the threat coming down the right hand side. So they switched out their left back because I think they just wanted a fresh pair of legs on.
Yeah.
So I think Patrice was doing pretty well at that point before they brought Bar on with this overlap and that kind of thing. But yeah, I thought it was really good. I mean, there's a few little things I'd probably criticise. Like Kirangard came on, and I just thought, come on, mate, like you come on for 15 minutes.
Get about the place.
Yeah, win those headers, and they kept playing that little short ball at the back, and I kind of think we just keep running at the keeper, keep going, just show a bit of willing, and I just wasn't 100% sure where his head was at the end of that game. But apart from that, I thought we played really, really well, to be honest. Yeah,
very good.
It was pretty.
Mendy.
Oh,
mention Mendy.
Oh, sorry.
What do you think, Miles? Get Miles to shout what he thinks of Mendy.
I'll let Miles speak.
Go on, Miles.
Mendy, I've been saying for ages, he allows Loser to play. He picks up the ball. He defends Loser. He does what Loser does when Mendy's not on the pitch. If you get my drift.
Yeah.
Mendy was just gives Loser that freedom, and Loser was a lot more forward because Mendy was there to pick pick up the loose balls and to put the foot in and to break up stuff, and it allowed Loser the freedom to get up top. And he had a shot that he should have scored from. So I think Mendy to me was the player of the match.
Lovely stuff. Look at that. Look at that. I like that very much. Miles, who's normally sitting there driving in the every time we go to you, Johnny, if you're on the road, Miles, it's Miles's slot. It's very much like basically it's a little bit like Boyd's grumpy moment. We're now going to go over to Miles, that kind of thing. Who knows when it could happen?
Well, Miles is actually better. So on our Yorkshire and North East Hornets WhatsApp group, Miles always has the killer analysis. You'll always read it and be like. So I just said to him before I came on, I actually think it's better. I'm trying to tempt Miles to come on a bit more because his analysis of the game is always bang on. He's getting embarrassed now.
I like this. We're all upping Miles. Come on, get it in the notes, everybody. Get it in the comments. We want more Miles. That's what we want.
Yeah, more Miles. But I'll let you go, Pete.
All right, mate.
You've got more people to speak to. But all the best, mate, and thanks for having us on.
Always. There you go. Lovely stuff. Look, there goes Johnny and Miles. Lovely. Dr. Dickie Sutton. Now, I think Dr. Dickie Sutton at one stage was going to Hull. I can't remember if it was the frozen time or if it was this time. But Dr. Dickie Sutton, you, sir, with the medical training, what do you make of that? Are you there, Dickie? No, can't hear you there, sir. Try and re-request if you will. I'll remove you from speakers because sometimes things just do that, and I don't believe it's me for a change because Justin is making sure that I'm okay. Oh, I'm getting 2 thumbs up, if you'll excuse the expression. Now let's get to somebody who I saw at the end on the wobbly jelly on the telly, and he was at the game, and he was full of applause and wearing a rather sprightly yellow jacket, which showed up, which I thought was very nice. Mr. Pete Ryan, sir, how you doing?
Yes, I'm driving in the driving rain, and I think, like most of us, you must have had a better view of the proceedings than I did. But that wasn't too bad, was it? That was uplifting from where we could have been.
Yeah, I mean, we tried to make this, but it's not always possible. When you come on with the result, or when you come on and you've just lost in the 96th minute or what have you, of course we're going to be all spinning out because of the result. But it's lovely to focus on the performance and the difference in the performance in terms of a marked step up after, as somebody said earlier on, 48 hours on the, and one of those would have been a recovery day as well. We mustn't forget that how much could be done, because there have been some days, and I'm saying this for Pezzolano, and I'm saying it for Grazia, and I'm saying it for a lot of the previous managers, where you look at it and you go, what have you been doing all week? They've had 2 days. And we seem to have a turnaround in positivity, in attitude, in desire, in discretionary effort. Yes, it didn't quite work in the final third, but we all know these games can change on moments. Tell us your take on everything.
Obviously you might have seen I was stood next to somebody that you would know at the game. I thought that we got away. One of the good things about the game. Let's go to the match, then I'll talk about attitude and stuff like that.
Cool.
Because I've got thoughts on that, and that goes into the darker side of what players getting the manager the sack.
Okay.
Say that. So I'll go back to that. The ref was really strong. I thought that it was going to be a penalty after a couple of minutes when the guy went down in the box. At match speed, I thought, they're given in the Premier League. They're probably given, especially bearing in mind we went to Hull City and their influence on the ref that called the game off.
Yeah.
That apparently was hiding in the dressing room and wouldn't come out. The information I got today from somebody in the know. That ref stood strong. There were a few strong challenges in the middle early on in the game where we were trying to pull the ball away. And again, when we were attacking in the second half, where a weaker referee, this referee played on.
Yes, there were a number of times.
Doumbia was right in front of us, and Doumbia was right, and that's why he kicked the ball away, because the last touch was off the whole player when Doumbia got booked, and then obviously in frustration and anger, the linesman didn't know what he was doing. But it's very close to him. I'm not criticising the linesman for that, but yeah, he kicked the ball away and got booked. And I thought after Doumbia went off, it severely weakened us. Luca, not for me. Immediately he had 2 headers which he lost, and suddenly Hull and the attacks that they got at the end, and Hull had a corner at the end, which, you know, we're all praying they don't score. All comes because suddenly we're not retaining the ball up front. Right. But so that was my thought on that. Go on, you had another point.
Well, I have to say, Hornet Gags just made me literally gag. I handed Selvik a cup of coffee and he palmed it out for a corner. I thought that was funny. But we also had from Mark Schofield. He's given us points out. He's given us marks out of 10. I'm going to run them past you and see whether or not you think you can. Let's do, you know, kind of like the Price is Right, or whatever it is.
Yeah, sure.
Play your cards right. Selvik 5, higher or lower?
Selvik for the save 10 seconds before the half-time whistle.
Yep.
10. Selvik at corners 3. And Hull City, I thought, just to go back to where the tactical, what we thought was that Hull City were quite happy to let us have the ball and wanted to break against us.
Yep.
And it looked like they wanted to put their players away, but the players that we've got, the new kid whose parents I spoke to were at the game.
Yep.
And Petris and the others, and then Ngakia before I think he's playing with an injury in Ngakia, got tired. Anyway, so that's Selvik out of the way.
Good.
He's had a crisis of confidence, and hopefully with a better defence in front of him, we can build on that.
Okay.
Anyway, next player.
Okay. Right. I'll be ready. And all I want here is it higher, lower, or spot on for tonight's performance? And Ngakia, 7 out of 10.
Higher.
Higher. Nice. A Banqua, 8 out of 10.
Lower. Much lower.
Lower than that. You see, this is where the game does look different on TV versus in the game. People look at it different. Mafuni, 7.
Higher.
Higher. Like a Boller, 7.
Higher.
Ooh.
He was great. He was brilliant.
I liked him a lot. That's fine. But this is the joy.
And he had the chance to score a couple of times. He self-attacked. He was much better than that.
Lovely. No, that's fine. But this is different. Different people can watch the same game on the same television at the same time and see it differently. People from different angles will see it differently. This is the point. This isn't wrong. I'm using your mark here. I do apologise, but I'm doing it anyway because it's you've sent this in and you've sent me off on a new idea. Mendy, 9. Nampalys Mendy in the middle, 9.
Okay, okay. I'll
good.
If that makes him man of the match, no, but yeah, all right.
Look, I think if that makes him man of the match, no.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, loser 7.5.
And this is the point I was saying.
Where's he gone? Are you there? Have you gone?
I'm still here.
Good. Loser 7.5. Higher or lower? Higher. Mama.
If he'd have scored, it would have been 10. But he didn't, did he? He missed.
Well, yeah. I mean, you know, it's down to maybes. Mama, 7.
Yeah, he was a rejuvenated 7.
Rejuvenated 7. I like this. KMB, 7.
In the first 15 minutes, he was about 2, and then he turned into an 8 or 9.
So 7 out on average. I think 7 is reasonable. Chak for Tadza, 7.
Lower.
I found Chak for Tadza frustrating today. I thought he was very, very sideways and backwards, with the exception of that great effort. No, don't get me wrong. I'm not turning on Chak. Give him the next game. Get him to play. But we need more end products. Finally, this one, I think you're going to probably say higher from what you said. Doumbia, 6.5.
So much higher.
This is why it looks different when you're there to when you're on the. Oh, I like this. I like this whole theory. Far too much, obviously, per normal. Never mind. What would you have given Doumbia out of 10, and who would you have given man of the match to?
I would give 8.5. bowler. For his position was he was the Tesco value meal of today.
Excellent. Pete, I'm going to let you go because we've got loads of people waiting. And to be quite frank, the fact that that wonderful bowler was discovered to be the Tesco value meal, I don't think we're going to get better than that. Probably all night. Who knows? Who knows? Let me see if I can quickly get in. We do love to hear from the opposition wherever possible, and especially if it's to Hull and back. There we go. I don't know. Is it Ant? Are you there? Hit your mic button at the bottom left. To Hull and back. Mic button at the bottom left, and then you can talk to us. Because at the moment you're on mute. Can you take yourself off mute? Oh, we like the opposition bits. That's all the good fun part. Oh, we've gone. Never mind. Right, let's get to where are we? There he is. Let's get to Caden. Been waiting a long time, guys. We will get you in, and we're just going to be here chatting because hey, Hull's a long way away, and all of those people who travelled, well done, magnificent per normal. And if needs be, we'll stick with you. If we do end up finishing because nobody wants to bother talking to me for about the 18th hour in the last weekend, then I can understand it. And there's more stuff that's already come out that you could download. But let's see if Caden is there. Caden, are you there? Oh, are we having fun and games here? It looks like it. No, because it's then saying it had a speaker, so something's going wrong there. Let's try to Hull and back one more time, see if that works. Right, hit your mic button. Oh, hit your mic button at the bottom left to Hull and back, and then let's see how we get on.
Yes, then, guys, how are we doing?
Oh, and
yes, it's me.
Oh, mate, it's Pete. How you doing?
I'm not bad. Well, mind you, that wasn't great for our behalf, but I'm quite happy we got a point actually in the end of that.
Yeah, well, look, everybody, Ant, everybody. Ant is one of our great friends from the opposition podcast called To Hull and Back, and he's good fun. We like Ant a lot. Yeah, I mean, it felt a game like if it was a boxing match, we would have won that on points.
Yeah, I asked halfway through the first half if we could postpone it again. Yeah, it wasn't great from us. We looked a little bit leggy, but I was quite impressed with Watford, to be fair. I want to start off by saying I think that you guys definitely deserve to win the game, and I don't know how loser missed his chance later on in that second half. But,
yeah, thanks for not laughing quite so openly when you say that. That's all.
Yeah, sorry guys.
Always a nice touch.
But that's why I prefaced it with saying that you guys were the better team. You know what I mean? I had to soften the blow a bit.
Mate, you gave with one hand, and with the other one, you slapped us around the face, which, as we all know, is an excellent podcast tradition.
Yeah, you know me by now.
Yeah, exactly. You've had a great run of form. How did this performance feel in comparison to the run of form that you've had? As a performance, have Watford stopped you in your tracks, or we've got a lot of tiredness as well? How do you look back at your performance and explain your performance tonight? We've honours even, but how do you look at it?
We were poor tonight, well below our usual standards. That's not the whole City that we know. I do think that obviously Gracia resigning only a couple of days ago, I think you were a bit of an unknown entity. We didn't quite know what was going to turn up and how to set up, etc. I think the midfield looks a bit leggy. We do desperately miss a lot of players with injury at the minute. Matt Crooks is vital for us in the middle, and you could tell Regan Slater was doing all the legwork in the middle basically on his own. Hadzimetovic was chasing shadows. Kieran Dowell looked very ineffective on his first start for us since signing.
Yeah.
I just think that Watford were I think tactically they outdid us. I mean, I can get on to the referee a little bit later, but I do think tactically Watford were much the better side tonight, and probably 0-0 flatters us a bit.
No, and that's fair enough. And I can understand why you've got an injury crisis, because what you're supposed to do with the ice is put it on all the players, kind of tired muscles, as opposed to in the technical area.
We dropped it all outside of the pitch last time.
Yeah. If we're still in the same division together, next year is just going to be a plethora of ice jokes the entire way through. That's all we'll do.
It will be worse.
Yeah, we're not above that. And Ant knows this very, very well. Oh, well, look, I mean, in terms of how we played then against you, was it simply a question of, because you mentioned about the tactics, where did we hurt you on the tactics from an opposition point of view?
I think it was the midfield. I think Watford's Watford's midfield was just far superior in every aspect. I think that you dropped into like a 4-5-1. Sorry, when we had the ball, and we were really struggling to make space. Your defence were pushing up and encouraging us to hit it long, and then the ball was just coming straight back up to us. And McBurney was really, really isolated. We couldn't get the ball into players like Gelhart's feet to really do any damage. And then when Watford had the ball, our sort of two-man press was always being overloaded by someone in the middle, and you were keeping both wingers really wide, so it was stretching us. And I think you were sort of making us double guess all the time. We kind of wanted to sort of mark the wide players, but then we'd leave too much space in the middle for the likes of Loser to really hurt us. But we were chasing shadows for the vast majority of that game. I think barring the Charlie Hughes header in the first half, I can't actually remember us creating anything that would have been considered a really good chance.
Very good. Very well, thank you for that. I mean, lovely stuff. I still think Charlie Hughes looks a hell of a player.
He's cracking, isn't he?
You've kept him. Is he one who's destined to go in the summer?
He won't be here next season. He'll be gone for a big sum in summer to the Premier League, I'd imagine.
Yeah, no. I think he looks a heck of a player. Final thing, then, obviously, we would love to have a crack at the playoffs, but I think after the last 6 games that we've had, we're probably all sort of resigned to really having a look and seeing whether or not this interim management is given its role and what have you, and maybe have a crack at it. I mean, I'm sure that our owner will do so. But what are your thoughts and hopes, and have they changed at all tonight in terms of, you were going on a great run, you were up into 4th, I think it was. What are your best hopes moving forward?
Yeah, we're 3rd at the minute, actually. Ipswich, obviously, they had the chance to sort of keep up with us tonight, but their game was called off, wasn't it? But
yeah,
no, it's only one defeat in 11, I think it is. Like we say, we've still got a lot of players still coming back. Gelhart still doesn't look fully fit to me. Ryan Giles came back on today for the first time in over a month. We've got a JE who's injured as well. We've got all these players to come back. So if we can stay in and amongst this kind of position that we're in, we've got 4 more home games in a row, although we probably prefer them to be away because we're better away at the minute.
Right.
So we have got a big chance to just sort of continue pushing. We've added some depth in from the transfer window. We've got a lot of players that have got a lot of championship experience, and I think that once we've got somewhat of our full strength team back, then we'll definitely be. I think top 6 is probably the realistic aim for us. I think we'll flirt with a top 2 charge for a little bit and then drop off when it comes to the crunch time. But no, it's been a brilliant season so far, and I'm really, really enjoying it.
This is what I love about championship football, right? When you're talking to somebody who's, if you're talking to a Man United or a Liverpool fan, and if they lose anything, or if they win anything less than 3-0, it's a minor crisis. You talk to Ant and say, "What are you going to do?" "Oh, I think we're going to play around with second and then dip below because that's what we'll do." Always under promising and under delivering the championship. That's what we like to see.
It's real football.
Well, exactly. It's exactly none of this VAR nonsense. Well, and we're going to get through other fans. Thank you very much as ever for coming on. Have a great rest of the season, and who knows, we might see you at Wembley, as long as we're not coming to you for a late kind of semi-final leg at yours, because that still hurts too much to talk about. There's
it does.
Lovely stuff. Yeah. There's Ant from to Hull and back. Love them to pieces. Let's get to Paul Holly, who's been waiting a long time, guys. We will get through to you, everyone. We'll go as late as we need. It's fine. Paul, what do you make of them apples?
Yeah, good evening, Pete. I was at the game.
Oh, they've got this good a phone line near Hull. You see, Ant's gone now. I can start bashing Humberside.
It's because I'm back in the hotel. Hence why I'm not driving or moving around. And you probably missed a bit of a scoop because Pete Ryan was with Richard Walker, and I think Pete wanted to share some further intel. So you probably cut him off a bit early. You might want to come back on because maybe Richard would have shared some past stories with him, maybe. But anyway, yeah, I went thinking, am I really sane or insane? One thing that I sometimes question, when players are tired at this point in the season, sometimes I watch the warm-up and I think they over-warm up. When I watch the warm-up, I think, bloody hell, I wouldn't be able to play at all. I'd be absolutely shattered at the end of the warm-up. And I was watching Hull and their warm-up was very intense. And one thing I noticed, when they were doing shooting practice, 7 out of 10 were going in, and I thought, oh, God forbid they got their shooting boots on. And for those that ever watch a Watford shooting warm up, often we struggle to get 1 out of 10. So it was quite interesting, and I did fear, but from the get go, it was a real positive. And just quickly running through the team.
Yeah, go for it.
Selvik, made some good saves, but agree with the other comments. He's lost a bit of confidence. He's flapping at crosses. He's become a bit of a Bachmann Dracula syndrome, and hopefully with a bit of stability he can regain confidence. I thought Ngaki was a positive. I thought Mbankwa was a positive. What I like about Mbankwa is he will drive the ball forward sometimes when he's feeling very confident, and he didn't let McBurney bully him, which was really good. I was absolutely astonished by the confidence of, I don't know how you pronounce his name. Is it Mfuni?
I think we've decided Mafuni. I think
Mafuni.
We'll have it corrected.
I was flabbergasted about his confidence levels. It was like, he just turned up from training for a training session with his mates. I thought he was fantastic, and just a bit of naivety to get booked, but I thought he did really well. I'm a bit on the fence with Bowler. I think there's times where he could be a bit more aggressive and overlap, and that frustrated me a little bit. I know he's tidy, but I just want to see a bit more drive and aggression from him sometimes.
Okay.
Loser could have had a hat-trick if he'd had his shooting boots on, but I thought Mendy was fantastic. Agree with the comments that Mendy helped free Loser.
Yeah.
And on another day, we would have won because Loser would have put one of them away. But Mendy was an absolute pain in the arse for them. He was everywhere. And, he's like picking their pockets. I was really chuffed with him. And Kayembe, I thought, had one of his better games. Once he got going, again, he was pretty solid. And I agree with the guy from Hull's comments. Our midfield looked solid. Chaksavadze frustrated the hell out of me. God, he's got no bloody end products. No end products. He flatters to deceive. And Mama as well. All these tricks and flicks. But actually, when you're measuring end products, again, whilst he had a lot of influence, I just get a bit frustrated where he could shoot or he could make more compelling, passes. So, again, a bit frustrating. And I thought Dumbia was great. What you might not have picked up on TV was his running off the ball. There were lots of occasions he was running off the ball and he wanted the ball played in from deep. And even in the second half, his fitness levels were pretty strong, and he was disappointed to get taken off. Maybe because of the booking, it was a sensible thing.
Right.
We have to back him. He is our strongest of the three. We have to back him. I think there's a player there. And then regarding the subs, I thought Kevin did okay when he came on.
Yeah.
Ince wasn't on long enough. K9, I mean, just a waste of time. Petris was very bright, energetic. I love his aggression moving forward. And Barr, again, there's a couple of occasions where he beat his man. He looked a little bit like him old self. So overall, Pete, thumbs up. Hopefully Daniels is still there on Saturday, but we've got to keep our feet on the grounds. This is Watford. Saturday could go back to the dark side. What will we get on Saturday?
The dark side. I like that. These are all sections that we should have. And now to the dark side. Paul, thank you very much indeed. Pete Ryan, if there is something else you want to say, just re-request. My apologies if I did cut you off in your prime. It sounds painful. Let's bring Liam on. Then we're going to be going to Ant. That's Belushi, everybody. Then we're going to Russell. Then we're going to Harry Phillips. And we might finish off with Pete, but loads of comments as well, which are absolutely splendid. Before I come to Liam, Watford FC 1881 has said, can Mafuni get called back to City on a whim, Pete? Or have we definitely got him till the end of the season? I think if you look at the amount of centre-backs that they've actually now got, including Gahey, they'd have to have a dose of the bubonic plague, I think, to get down to the level where they're going to bring Mafuni back in as a necessity. and that's no disrespect to him. They might be looking at him tonight and drooling, absolutely, but they have enough there that I don't think they would bring him back. Bearing in mind he is 17, he's not playing in the under 18s. He's playing in the under 21s for them, and he's played for the first team, and now he's playing senior football. I think that will be that they'll be looking at that tonight and going, yep, he's getting game time. How confident he was. He had a drop of the shoulder playing across, and then kind of opened up and played across the back within about the first minute and a half. And you looked at him and went, cool, he's not bad, is he? So hopefully not, but I'll find out whether or not it's a season, or they might have some kind of recall. But I don't think it's worth worrying about. Max Elaine is sitting there at the moment, and he'd have to go down with a case of chicken pox or something. Other diseases are available. Liam, sir, hit your mic button and let us know how you are and how everything. Were you outside? You weren't outside Vicarage Road yesterday, were you?
No, I wasn't. I was meant to join virtually, but yeah, it's all right. Yeah, I'm very happy with the performance this evening. I'm going to use Reza's phrase, the three amigos. I think they've made a very good case for the job.
It's an excellent phrase, but he is allowing other people to use it, and I think that's the kind of person that Reza is. That's fine. Three amigos, it is.
I thought defensively we were really solid. I think Mfune and Nabank worked really well together.
Yeah.
I think they had McBurney in their back pocket all game. And I don't know where Nampalius Mendy's been all season, because he was excellent tonight.
It would necessitate a change of shape if you're playing with Loser in the midfield in the Javier Grazia model. He's going to play two deep midfielders. If one of them's got to be Loser, who is 5'9", playing a 5'6" means that you're surrendering all height advantage in there. So he wants to play somebody in who would counterbalance it. Changing it to a 3. Wow. Yeah. Suddenly Nampalys is in, and I agree with you. He was absolutely everywhere, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was sort of running the show in the midfield. He was making tackles, winning lots of 50-50s. And then I thought Georgie had a brighter game today. He actually took shots and actually maybe looked to start scoring, but then he had dips as well. I think Mama, pretty solid, bit okay. He's not been good in recent weeks, apart from Saturday when he was taken off. But Dumbia, middle for me. I thought you sort of made those runs, but no one was passing the ball to him. But I thought when Petrie, I thought, oh, Petrie's coming on. I haven't seen him in a while. Let's see how he plays, because I think he's more of a wing back type of player. And I thought he added a lot of pace and talent, and he was really solid on the ball. And he did do well defensively to track back as well. I think Barr, when he came on as well, really solid. I think he made an impact. He was making runs. He was scaring them. And yeah, I think the three amigos have made a very good case for the job, and hopefully we can continue how we played today in Southampton, because that's probably a must-win, really.
Fingers crossed. Fingers crossed. Jason made a comment on here. He said, no fanny football from goal kicks. Did you notice? Not once. I hadn't even picked up on that, Jason. Thank you for that. We didn't do that. Everybody come and stand either side of the 6-yard box, and we'll try and pretend that we're going to pass around everybody and then play ourselves into problems. We got the ball into safe areas and then progressed the ball up the pitch. That seemed to help us a lot, didn't it?
Yeah, I think, like Reza said, I think sometimes I'm worried with Selvik on the ball, because he that heart and mouth moment, because he was a bit dodgy at times today, but kicking it upfield, and he was releasing it quite quickly today, which I like, just quickening up the tempo. And I thought he made some good saves, especially at the end of the first half, and then another good one, I think, in the second half where he tipped it over the bar. But yeah, he just made me a little nervous when he comes out for stuff and misses it, and makes me heart and mouth nervous. But yeah, all round solid performance today, and I think if we continue that, we're on a good run. We just need to hope teams around us sort of drop off a little bit.
Interesting. A lot of people now saying about, let Charlie and Dan and AD, let's call him Maps. We all call him Maps, let's be honest. Give it till the end of the season. Guy Wellborn says it, give them to the end of the season. They've got the championship know-how, which between them, they've got stack loads. Thinking about it, and I genuinely, Guy, I'm sorry, I hadn't even thought about that, but you're absolutely right. They know it inside out. It's a game that already seems to have transformed it from, well, come on, who's the next manager going to be? Even though there's a frustration, because a lot of people have been saying exactly as we heard from Boyd earlier on, it doesn't really matter who the manager is, because under this lot, it's not going to change materially. But having these guys in there feels like it's piqued everybody's interest, because the transfer window's done. You've got a group of coaches who everybody is already, relatively speaking, connected to, because they've been here a little while. Would you be happy going through to the end of the season? I appreciate it's only one game, but those seem to be the general ideas. Or would you like somebody to come in with more kind of first team experience?
No, I think I'd give it to Charlie Daniels till the end of the season. I think we played pretty well tonight, and I think something we saw as well, which we didn't see under Gracia, is Mama and Bar both on the pitch at the same time. He kept Mama on with Bar, and normally it would be Bar coming on for Mama. And yeah, I think it's a good move to keep him till the end of the season. I think they've got a lot of experience between, like, Daniels and Gosling work together, or Daniels and Mariappa, I don't know which, but I think it's a good move, and I would keep him till the end of the season. Yeah, I definitely think they deserve it, but we've got to see how we perform in the next game. But for me, tonight was a really step up from the weekend and the past few games, and I think we dominated them. And say they're in third, we've pretty much played them out of the park, and I thought, yeah, again, Nampalius Mendy, probably my man of the match, I'd say.
Very good, very good, lovely stuff, Liam. Thank you very much indeed. Let's have a. Now we know that Ant. This isn't Hull Ant. This is Ant different Ant. This is Ant, who comes on with his own walk-on music. Ant, if you're ready, play it away. Of course. It's Dennis Waterman. Don't ask me to tell you to stop. Okay, you can stop now. That'll do. Excellent stuff.
I couldn't cut it off, but not before that bit.
Who wanted to cut that off? Let's face it, all of those people driving back from Hull could have simply had Dennis Waterman, I Could Be So Good For You, the theme tune to Minder, on repeat all the way down, I reckon.
They can probably do it on the way home. They can still do it. They're still tired.
Yeah,
they could have a right good sing-song to that one. That'd be great.
Absolutely. Talking about a good night out, what did you reckon to tonight? I mean, very different from the vibe on Saturday.
Very different. Unfortunately, my red button weren't working.
Oh.
I'm on a mini box, so like the main box, like the red button was working, but like no, I didn't have access to that. So I was on the phone to Sky for fucking 45 minutes trying to get the first half working. By the time they got it sorted out, it was like half time. I was like, "You're fucking kidding me." So I'm not too happy with that. I mean, everyone knows the red button ain't too great. It works 50% of the time. So I'm cutting off in it or just lagging, just freezing every 10, 20 seconds. It's a bit of a pain in the arse, to be honest. I don't know why they just don't do like 10 spare channels which don't broadcast anything until the games are on, and they just broadcast the game on a channel. Do you know what I mean?
It will be good. It will be good. Bearing in mind.
You know what they used to do with box office, didn't they? They like, used to have like certain films, like you used to have loads of box office channels, and if you bought the film, you'd go on at a certain time and watch the film. Like, why don't they just do that with like red button?
I've got no idea, but in fairness, most people have I'm sure been listening in mainly to hear about your thoughts on the game rather than your Sky internet problems. What do you reckon the rest?
Yeah, the second half quality. I heard we was good over the first half.
Yeah,
it was all over them. Second half, first 10 minutes were a bit shy, but they got into it. Like Reza said, I don't know what. Yeah, we might as well just give them a chance. What we got to lose? There's no point. I don't see any point bringing in a new manager now. We might as well just take our time. I mean, it looks all right. Who knows? A couple of games time, we could be moaning again. Obviously, Yavi came in, got a few good results, and was all fucking licking his arsehole pretty much, weren't they? Well, majority of people. But yeah, and then obviously it went wrong. So it could go wrong again. But I don't see the point of bringing in someone. They might as well just take their time. Second half was great. Everyone's mentioned Mendy, done really well.
Yep.
Loser, he could have finished a couple, really, couldn't he? I was hoping we'd nick a little goal. But I'm glad it could have went the other way. They could have nicked the goal, really. It was a bit iffy, wasn't it, towards like the 80th, 85th minute. Like, oh. And luckily, we turned it around just about the 85th, 86th minute, and then went all over him, really. So it was just unlucky. But yeah, no, he looked all right. But yeah, I agree with Reza, really. I think we should just give him another couple of games, really, before making any rash decisions and bringing in someone who the Pozzo prefers.
Yeah.
And I think the squad selection was a bit weird as well, actually. It is a bit interesting with the Mendy's playing. Like, what's been the issue with them over the last couple of games then for like no one else to pick them? Because obviously they both had pretty decent games, to be honest, didn't they?
Well, we only had one Mendy play. So, I mean, foremost, Mendy took his normal position on the bench and didn't play.
I was getting it mixed up and thought one went off at half time.
No.
I didn't see the fucking first half, did I?
No, of course. No, it was the same. It was the same Mendy, but frankly, he ran two halves in every single individual half. So he was everywhere. Foremost was on the bench. Kebban came on for Mafuni, who you won't have seen an awful lot of, but genuinely left-footed. He could have had we had a chance for a goal in the first half with a header that he came flying in on, and it went basically sort of 90 degrees away from the goal, came back, and he nearly got on the end of that again. He had another header at the first, and he was really confident on the ball. So, you know, there was a lot there to see from a 17-year-old. He did get a second booking, as people have pointed out, and he nearly got a second booking, I should say. So he went off, and Kevin came back on. But yeah, it just felt like one of those performances that, and people have said, you know, best performances in one of those performances where people are looking at this, and it was a 0-0, and yet we're enthusing
it. It was more of a joint effort, didn't it? It weren't like individuals, not playing as a team. It was more of a team effort, I think. And I think that's what you needed.
It was the effort, and it was literally every single player. And yeah, I will include Kieran Gard in this. Every player put in an effort for the time that they were on. Is Kieran Gard as effective as we want him to be? No, not at this moment in time. Did he get a lot of service or a lot of balls into the area that's his game? No, not really. But we started with Doumbia. A lot of people were saying, play Doumbia up front, he'll give you more. And I think he did give us an awful lot. And the people who were there at the game, seemingly, saw more of the runs, and I'm quoting Paul and I'm quoting Pete Ryan, more of the runs off the ball that really was the kind of the working hard in front of the ball and occupying the back line even more. So it was a good performance. 0-0, we'll see. We're going to Southampton on Saturday. They're down in and around 16th, but it's still Southampton. But they've just sold their top striker and joint top assist provider in Adam Armstrong. So they're a little bit on the go. What would be your hopes for Saturday, other than your skybox actually working?
Well, I like for a win, to be honest. I mean, looking at where we played today, we played pretty well. We had little blips where we weren't. I don't know. I mean, I'd like to say I'll be happy with a draw, but really, I want the win. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, of course.
I'm not going to say. I don't want to blow the trumpets too much, but after today, I think like if they play like that, they've got a good chance of coming out of a point or three.
Well, I think the hope is that
it's up again.
The hope is we use the squad, you know, yet more, and see what we saw at the end, which was, you know, frustration on the player's face. But as I saw it and I'm looking at it from the TV, so people who were there tell me it was otherwise. Moving across to the away fans and there was, you know, high fives, and there were hugs with Charlie and hugs with Dan. I didn't see maps after the game on the footage because I was getting up here to start this nonsense. But it was, it was all positive. So let's hope we get, another goal. And then if we do, then maybe you can come in and give us another Dennis Waterman classic at the start on Saturday of the next post-match phone-in. Let's see if we can get to Russell, who joined us last night talking about all things. Now, he was at the Hornet Talk podcast, THTP. Russell, you there, sir?
Yes, I should be here if you can hear me.
You got you loud and clear. 0-0, but we're quite enthused with that. How did you see things?
Well, to be honest, for most of it, I was listening to it through through Talk Sport. There's a couple of things I want to touch on. I won't go over like Selvik, because a lot of people gone over Selvik.
Yeah.
But Mendy, if we look at the reverse fixture when we played Hull, two things stand out to me. One, that was probably Mendy's longest performance since Hull at home, where he played like amazing. Yeah, it was weird that he didn't start under Javi, but again, you know, as you say, Javi's sort of system doesn't really cater to him.
Yep.
Also, in that reverse fixture, we played Vivaldo Semedo, and one of our goals comes from Semedo running down into the channel, and he gets the ball into Loser scores. So, when we talk about Dumbia making those runs, is it the confidence in the team to play it down there, or is it that the players don't have confidence in themselves to make that pass?
An interesting question. I mean, if you want to see a team who didn't have confidence in playing it forward to the forward, was watch every Watford team ever playing with Rajovic. That was literally playing with 10 men, but they would hoy the ball into the box for him occasionally, and then he would get his goals. But so I think you still see it, but there is a reticence now growing into playing it into Kiramgar. There is a sort of a, we don't quite know what's going to happen with here. I've not seen that. From what I've seen ever since he stepped into, and I think one of the first games I saw him against was last season against Milton Keynes Dons in the cup. And okay, that was walk in the park, but he was playing up front and everybody was playing the ball into him. And because Rajovic was our other forward at the time, you could see that they were trusting him. Do they trust him as much? Has he gone? I think he's possibly slowed a little bit. He used to be running around all over the place. But I think what we saw with him last season was him coming in and learning to play with his back to goal. And in this most recent games when he's played, he's been playing in that kind of pseudo second striker number 10 sort of role, which I think he can learn to play, but it's very hard as a youngster to change from role to role to role, you know, position to position to position. It's good. It's better to try to get in there and you know, like Mafuni, if you're a left-sided centre back, that's where we're going to play you. He might play left back occasionally, but try and make a position your own. And I think with Dumbia, if you look at our three strikers, for me, Dumbia's got a number of things above the other two. One, we own him. You know, he's a Watford player, not an Udinese loanee. But secondly, you would look at the pace of Semedo, but that's a bit about it, really. For me, I think everything else is maybe 6 out of 10, but his pace it gives him a little bit more, and his running might do a bit, but his touch isn't there. His shooting is, well, I mean, look, you know, the goal at Norwich, you know, it needed 2 deflections to go in. That's not having a go at him. He took the shot and it goes in. It's great, but he doesn't strike a ball that cleanly. You look at Kiramgar, and his pace isn't there. And there are bits where he's playing with his back to goal that look okay, and we know that he can finish. We know he can get to where the goal is. We don't cross enough to the back of the defence. Whenever we've played the ball to the back of the defence, that's where he positions himself, and he does that well. When he's playing, that would be a good thing to do. For me, Dumbia sits in that happy medium between the two. Yes, he's not been proved to be a goal machine, but I think he can do the work out of the box. I think he's got good technique. I think he can strike a ball. He has got a bit of pace. I think he's the better all-round option of the three. So I don't think it's a lack of confidence in the players. I think perhaps what we saw tonight was 2 days worth working on a system. I'm not sure that they'll play the same system at Southampton. They may well do. But if they do, in the interim period, they can work on progressing the ball in the final third. They seem to have worked on, you know, our shape in possession, and then what we're going to do and what we're going to do out of possession to move forward. Now, hopefully, it would be nice for them to have a couple of days on the training ground just to work out a few other things as into the final third. And maybe part of that will be, you know, exactly as you say, channel running, how to play him, how to move forward, how to get in and support around him.
Yeah, 100%. And I'm gonna really change the subject almost.
Go for it.
Because Troy Deeney was on TalkSport yesterday. It was, I believe, yesterday morning. And he comes in and he says that he doesn't understand what the Pozzos want to do, and Scott Duxbury, because he says that we always talk about promotion and playoffs, but we never put any money towards it or any statement of intent, and we always follow this same sort of cycle of managers. Now, I always believe that whoever gets put in that hot seat, whether it's the three that we have now, or if we do sign a manager who comes in, let's say we stick with these three, and you know, we give the Pozzos and Scott Duxbury time to pick out a manager. Let's say we get to this period next year, and that manager's no longer with us. What do we do then? Do we just accept that this is the fate of Watford, or you know, do we start like Sheffield Wednesday and things? Because if we're all confident in having these three, that's brilliant. Have them till the end of the season, but then surely that next manager then has to work, because we've put in all this time and effort to find that one manager, right?
How can I put this? I think there's a difference between hope and an expectation and entitlement. Nobody's entitled to get, you know, to win or be in the playoffs or to get there. Everybody has to work their way there. And depending on what the money is, that's what they've got to do. I think what Troy was saying, and the frustration is around, and of course, he's been right in the middle of that maelstrom. As he said, he was there under 18 managers. We went through and did a count off when we spoke to him previously about it. And that he's saying that, you know, constantly changing runners and riders doesn't help. Now, in this instance, Javi has resigned. You know, there's no doubt about that. That's what's happened. But it's a question of saying about support. One of the things I saw him say was they keep talking, and it was in the statement, about this young and exciting squad. And he said, I keep hearing about these young and exciting players that they've got, but they've been talking about that for about 4 years. When are they going to start? When are they going to start doing something? And it's the difference between potential and actualizing what we have. Now, does that mean that in a year's time, if we fail, well, nobody's planning, you know, if we fail in this situation, people will be hoping that it will work. However, other people will be realistic about this and say, fundamentally, the platform that they are sitting on at the moment and the level of potential interference that goes in to on in the training ground, you know, there are multiple stories and witnesses from inside the camp of people such as Jean-Luc Anani basically telling Clevs who he's got to play. And they'll all deny it. That's fine. Deny it all you want. Don't care. There's stuff about Gioretta, you know, running down to the Sir Elton John to the dugout to give instructions to be passed over. Well, where do you think they've come from? They've come from, you know, they've come from the boss over the other side. It's that's what Watford is. Does that make this one less important than another? Because if we'd gone back 7, 8, 9, 10 years, you be the judge, we would have been having exactly the same conversation. What if this one doesn't work? It moves on to another. I think what we can limit ourselves to think about tonight is in a world of uncertainty, we've had a nice little sort of warm bath of nostalgia in people who have been at the club for a little while, have gone in and made a big difference in a short run, and we can take a look at that. And the fact that people have had a look at that performance, especially during a 0-0, because we've all watched 0-0 that have felt like basically, you know, circumcising yourself with a rusty church key, right? It's a lovely thing to watch a game that was highly contested. And, you know, we had Ant from Hull early on come on and say, no, you deserve to win it, and look at it and look at the result and go, yeah, that was good. What's next? Could we possibly build some more? And that becomes hope and expectation. It's entitlement if we say, well, unless they do that, then this. I think what we have to do is do what we can. As they always say, control the controllables. There's only so many things we can do as fans. And you're kind of getting onto that with, well, do we do what Sheffield Wednesday do? Well, Sheffield Wednesday have got to that point after 15 years of decline. And frankly, Sheffield Wednesday is a bigger club than Watford. I'm not saying that makes them less or more entitled to have anything, but they've got to the point of going, right, hang on, this is ridiculous. And people haven't been paid. And a whole host of things have gone on that would for a lot of people say, be careful what you wish for, because you could have a manager like that. You've seen Blackburn, who have had also since 2012, so that's 13 years of decline from a glorious point, and they're saying, okay, we're going to make some protests. But the question is, fundamentally, we come back to Boyd's point earlier on, unless somebody's got 150 million to put down and take the club off of Gino, what is there that can be realistically done from a supporting point of view? I'm not saying it's right, I'm not saying it's wrong, but the question is, what can realistically be done? If you look at Sheffield Wednesday, they caused such a furore that the tax authorities, when the tax was late, that the tax authorities came. This was on Kieran Maguire's Price of Football. They spoke to their secret tax man. They said, yeah, we decided, yeah, we think that's in the public interest. We're going to go and find them for that. And therefore it went into like a cease and desist kind of trading kind of model, and then went into administration because they could do that. And not at that point, at this moment in time, we are not at the same point as Sheffield Wednesday. We are on probably, 4 years of not even decline. We are 4 years of being where Watford have not even traditionally stood. Since 1970, since about 1980, we've been a kind of a top two, really a second tier club. We're kind of where we sort of should be. And if we ask him to put in more money as the solution, we're potentially putting ourselves into yet more debt. So it's a difficult thing to do. It's a difficult thing to do. But I think everybody has to do and discuss what they think they should do. What do you think we should do in a year if we're in the same place and things aren't progressing, shall we say?
To be honest, I think even now, like I struggle to answer that. Like, what should we do in a year when if everything was the same? Because you don't really want to be stuck in a cycle. I'm not as old as everyone else. I'm a bit younger. No offense, but
none taken. Trust me. Being old is significantly better than the alternative, which is not being here at all. So that's fine. Go on. But being young is fine. You've got energy. You've got the opportunity to organise something if you want to do. What is it you think you might want to do?
My recent memories of Watford have definitely been us being in the Prem, not necessarily competing for the Prem or anything like that, but almost being a stable club in the Prem. I know last night we sort of talked about the debt we racked up in the Prem.
Yeah. Absolutely, it was. That was where the 138 million was grown from. I look at the Premier and I describe the Premier as from a monetary point of view. Basically, you go from having this bucket to suddenly you've got this bucket. Massive big bucket you've got. Brilliant. It's got a much bigger hole in. And that's the problem. It's money floods out of the Premier League as quickly as it floods in. Now, the irony is that football clubs are valued based on their revenues, not their profit, on their revenues, which makes if you talk to anybody from accountancy, they'll turn around and say, what is it? Turnover, which is revenue. Turnover is vanity. Profit is sanity. But they don't do it. They do it on how much money is coming in. But the problem is, in order to stay in the Premier League, look at what the likes of Notts Forest have had to do. Nottingham Forest, I shouldn't call them Notts Forest. They broke the FFP rules, had to take the hit on the point, and then still, took enough or paid out enough in order to stay in the Premier League. And you go, okay, and then how much are you paying out per pound that you get in? How much are you paying out in wages? When we were in the Premier League, 85% of our revenue came from TV revenue, because we're Watford. And I appreciate, Ron especially hates me saying it when I say we're little Watford. We're not little Watford. We are the size that Watford are, which is significantly bigger than it has been in the past, but is still significantly smaller than other clubs. 85% of our revenue came from being in the Premier League. So we were on revenues of around 130 million when we were in the Premier League. When we come out, we come down to the parachute payments, which is like 45, 50% of the TV revenue. Don't forget that TV revenue, 85% of the money we were making. All the stuff that, us fans, go in and all of the pies I eat and all the beer you drink, Russ, all of that was only 15%. All about being in the Premier League. All about being in the Premier League. Now, here we are, as it is now, we no longer have parachute revenue. So that 120 or 130 down to 55, something like that, will come down to circa 25 million. So we have to do things differently because there will be other clubs with parachute money, for example, who will be looking at it and going, well, we can still pay this because we're confident that we'll go back up. We have to box clever. We have to have something that is going to be allowing us either to increase our revenues away from TV alone, for example, in order to do this, but to generate it as we go. It's such a difficult one. What we need and what I would love, because I just get the feeling that Gino Pozzo's race has run. We're going to be now, if we don't get into the playoffs this season, which I doubt, because I don't think we're equipped in the forward line department, things we've discussed today. My suspicion will be it will then be 4 seasons there. But he always drives a hard bargain, and so he will want paying. He will want his tin. He will want his coin before he leaves the club, and then what comes next. Because we can't doubt that we've seen some impressive players, but the problem has been we've not built anything because constantly this managerial change. It's about getting that manager right and about the management finding God, as Boyd said earlier on, finding God and hopefully going, you know what, we're going to stick and we're going to try and support this one for a prolonged period. Because if we were sitting there and let's say we got a decent result against Southampton, and we decided to roll the dice because it's a gamble. We decided to roll the dice on Charlie Daniels. If he and Maps and Dan were still in the job in a year, and we were in and around the place that we are at the moment, there are a lot of people, not all, who would turn around and go, "That'll do us because we're going to build," rather than exactly as we were discussing last night, having another load of players in the previous transfer window who were bought in for another system. It'd be interesting to see how Charlie does, because if he can show that he can be even more tactically flexible than tonight, and play different systems for different players and play to team different strokes, or different strokes, different strengths, I should say. Then why shouldn't we stick with him? Why shouldn't we give him a go? Maybe, who knows? It's football. It's chaos. We'll see what comes around the corner. That's the way. That's the way to look at it. Anyway, lovely stuff. Lovely to hear you from there. Lovely to hear, Russell come back in there today. Some fantastic questions. Love it all entirely. I love the fact that we're looking at the performance rather than just the result. Because you could look at it and go 0-0, meh, we didn't score. And some people have said, yeah, if only we could have scored. That's entirely different. That's a world apart. Some wonderful comments on the 5 words and on the on YouTube. But look, it's been a long old week. We've done loads of spaces. Thank you so much for getting involved with them. Thank you so much to everybody on YouTube who's been listening. Thank you everybody who's been watching on Twitter or been listening via the Twitter Spaces, and everybody who contributes, watches, listens, what have you. Or even if you're listening to this on the podcast version of it after, or picking it up on replay. It doesn't matter. Life's very busy, and there's been lots of games, and there's been loads of content out. Tomorrow we'll be putting out the Southampton preview because, hey, it's the Championship. It don't stop. It don't stop. And Southampton have had a really bad transfer window, if you ask me. They've sold a lot of players, including, as I say, Adam Armstrong. They sold somebody else to QPR. I can't remember one of their defenders, and they're not quite sure where everything is at the moment. Who knows? Maybe a bit of optimism going to St Mary's may pay off. Maybe it won't. But let's see what we can do, no matter what the result on Saturday, on the post-match phone-in, and let's have a look and discuss the performance. Let's discuss the tactics. Let's discuss what the manager does well or does badly. And yeah, if you want to talk about the owner and whether he's right, wrong, or indifferent, let's do that as well. But thank you so much for sticking with us tonight. We'll call it a night there. It's a school night after all. But we will see you come Saturday. You Orns.